So, one thing that I love to look at when asking myself questions when running campaigns is the journalism subreddit, our journalism. It's active, and a lot of it is journalists just bitching about their jobs, and a lot of this bitching is bitching about their interactions with PRs. Um, so you can actually learn quite a lot about how to work with journalists just from going through the journalism subreddit, our journalism. So I've found three lessons from here that I want to show to you. So the first of these is not to mass pitch people. So the subreddit is I'm a PR professional who mass pitches roast me. I think to get this, all I did was go like site colon our journalism, and then I just typed in PR. And here are the responses. I'm a reporter at a daily newspaper. I'm bombarded by more emails every day than I can deal with. I just delete mass pitches and block the sender. It's done a lot. And then they talk about more. I tend to block anything they clearly sent with no regard with what I'm interested in. And someone else says, the smaller publications you're pushing to, the more local the topic or idea needs to be. Location matters a lot. Again, if we just look at block, well, it's only that one guy who blocks, but he is an editor, and I'm sure others block. Here's another thread, which is called "How do you deal with PR people?" And again, it bothers me when they don't check to see if I'm relevant. I work at a small local Scottish newspaper. I don't care what's happening in London. Newsrooms are tight nowadays. Personally, I take all the help from stories I'm offered. So this shows that journalists do have a need for PRs, but you need to give relevant stuff, especially like if it's a location-based story. Checking the person's location, and location-based beats change a lot, so you need to stay up to date with beats. The best way to doing that is just going onto the journalist markback and looking at the last 10 to 20 articles. But if you don't do this, and the journalist can see that you haven't done that, blocking is possible, and this will not only make the journalist just unavailable to you for the length of that campaign or even future campaigns, but it can also hurt your future email deliverability. So yeah, don't mass spam pitches. So the second thing that I learned is that you need a relevant asset to get the link, right? And so this thread is called "What is the best practice in terms of linking to other websites?" Link only when necessary, thoughtfully, and strategically, as you're literally showing the exit. So this link, if it would be of service to your reader or back up your information. For example, if you report and then they talk about a study, link to the study. And I want to combine this idea. So remember, they're saying link where appropriate, link to the study. I had a PR asked to include a product name in my article post-publication, and it was totally irrelevant to our audience. Happens all the time. I just ignore the rest at this point. They know better. They're just hoping you don't. I refer them to our advertising department. So this tells me the combination of these two things tell me two things. Firstly, if you're pitching a study, you need to publish that study on your website, and you need to link to the link to that study. Don't just send a link to the homepage and not include a link to the study on the website. You need to show them that you have done the study yourself. Articles like this, where it's Britain's top favourite sources, and then we see that it's done by Prospectus Global, who are just a general market research company. It's not like a study carried out by Hines or Hellman's. It's Prospectus Global. These types of irrelevant studies, you can still get the link if you've done the study and you've got the study on your page and you're showing that you've done the study. But irrelevant studies and then just linking and then just trying to get a link to your homepage, or just pitching it as this company have done this study. That's not going to work anymore. This is who Prospective Global are, by the way. This is becoming less and less effective. So do relevant studies, do studies that are good enough to be worthy of a link, and then send a link to the study to the journalist. Now, finally, the final thing that I want to talk about is just the importance of images and videos. So what I do online newspapers is post videos that have nothing to do with the story that's embedded in it. I only worked in local news. It was because they wanted... Shit. I only work in local news, but in our case, it's because they sold pre-roll ads to run before videos and wanted to stuff as many of them as possible. Newspapers want to publish videos in their articles. They make more money per article if there's a video in there. So if you can add a video to your pitch or to your content, doesn't even necessarily need to be your own video. It will strengthen your pitch. This thread is called why do you have a hard time finding images for your articles? All of these comments have the same sentiment. Newsrooms need to invest in photojournalists and prioritize the work in them. The grim reality is photos were among our first huge cuts. The ones that are left are in an endangered species. So for journalists, they need photos. Like photos, one of their big pain points is not having enough photos. So as a PR, if you give them relevant imagery, you're solving a big pain point and you're more likely to get inclusion. And if you own the image, you can even ask for a link on the back of that image. Sometimes that will work, sometimes it won't work. Now, Stacey McNaught actually takes an approach where she starts with creating the bank of images and then lets the journalists find them. She offers this as a service, but she also offers a course it's less than 200 quid on how to do this, and it's her exact process for doing this. I have not bought the course myself, but I know her and I know that it's going to be good. So I'm going to include a link to this. This is not my course and I do not get any money from this. I just think, given the finding here, this might be a good investment. So yeah, that's all I'm saying. So anyway, here are the 3 things that you can learn from the journalism subreddit, and just subscribe to the journalism subreddit, see what they're talking about, see what they're struggling with, look at when they're bitching about PRs and try not to do that. Look at when they've talked about how they've had a good experience with the PR and try to do what the PR has done. It's just a great resource for PRs that I think is often overlooked.